Okay, now we're going to move on to doing our practice exam just like we used to in lab. I'm going to work each problem in a separate video, make it a little easier to watch and find things you want to re-watch. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work exam 4. It's a version from fall of 2017. You'll be able to find it in your Blackboard and the key and the exam and several more that you can practice, but I'm going to work this one and show you exactly how to do these kind of problems. So the first problem we're going to work is a bank reconciliation. Remember those? Yeah, that was in chapter 7 before spring break. So crazy, right? Anyway, so here's what your bank reconciliation problem will look like. It's just a listing of several things that occurred at the bank and on the books, and you'll put together that bank reconciliation. So what you'll have is you'll do the reconciliation, so you'll do that statement format reconciliation. Then you'll do the journal entries, and I'll include those as I work this problem. So what you've got are several things that happened: the outstanding checks, the book balance, the bank balance, deposits in transit, and a couple of other things that happened. So that's how your test will be. It might not be these exact things, but you know, it's the stuff we learned, and there's quite a few practice problems for you to work out there, so you should be pretty good at this by the time the test comes around on Friday. All right, so let's start with our title. This is Swift Ready Mart. And this is the bank reconciliation. And the date is November 30, 2017. Okay, so you may recall, or maybe you don't, this is a good time to remind you, we have a bank side and a book side. Bank, book, and I'll just draw a line between them. You don't have to. And so now we're going to put, I like to do the bank side first, as you may recall. So we got to start with the bank balance. Balance, and of course this will be the balance on November 30. So I got to find that. All right. Well, here it is. Bank balance, November 30, is $32,000. All right. Okay. Then you add deposits in transit. So we got to find those. And there you go, a deposit in transit of $2,400. So we're going to add that. 32,000 plus 2,400 is 34,400. Then you subtract any outstanding checks. So we got to find those. Oh, the very first thing, outstanding checks, 4,200, so that's a subtract. 34,400 minus 4,200 equals 30,200. And of course you have to label it. That's the bank, that's the adjusted bank balance. $11,30. So we got the adjusted bank balance. $11,30.17 is $30,200. And so that's what we're shooting over here on the book slide. So hopefully we'll come up with that when we do the other thing. So on the book side, just like with the bank, you start with the balance. So the book balance on it tells you right here, book balance 27,000. All right, now I'm not promising you your test will be in the same order, but the book balance will be listed there. Now you find anything you add, so anything that increased cash that the books don't already know about. All right, so actually I've already used all of these. Okay, a service charge, no, a service charge would decrease cash. A customer's check was returned, nope, that would decrease cash. We've already done that. So the bank collected some rent and paid to Swift Ready Mart by EFT in the amount of $38.50 and deposited the cash in Swift Ready Mart's account at the bank, but Swift Ready Mart hasn't entered it in the books. So perfect, there's something not in the books that the bank had. So that's an add. I'm just going to call that EFT rent, and it was $38.50. Okay, and that's it. So now we got two more things, service charge and an NSF check. So those are both taking cash out, so we can move on. There's nothing left to add. We'll just go ahead and go less. The service charge. $50. And NSF. $600. So those total $650. We're going to subtract that. So, oh, I forgot to add these up. 27,000 plus 3850 equals 30,850. 30,850 minus 650 equals 30,200, and we call that the adjusted book balance 1130.17. All right, so here we have our bank side and our book side, and that's our new balance. This is the number that needs to be on our books. So right now, if you went and looked at the ledger, it would show 27,000. That's clearly not right. We know this is the balance. So we need to fix our ledger by doing journal entries, right? And we need to add 3850, subtract 50, and subtract 600 from cash. We're going to do that with some journal entries. I'm going to write them here. And so remember, when you do these journal entries for the bank reconciliation, only do stuff from the book side because you're adjusting your books, right? So the first, and they all will involve cash. If it's add, you debit cash. If it's less, you credit cash. And then the other side will be whatever seems appropriate depending on the depending on what you're doing. All right. So we need a journal. Okay, so these are all 11:30. These are all on 11:30:18. So the first one is where we add this EFT for the rent. Okay. And so, right, cash came in, and it was $38.50. And we had rent revenue, right? Because that's what it was for. It was for rent. All right. So that's that first one. That was an increase to cash. Now these next two are decreases to cash. So the first one was a service charge. I'm just going to call that banking expense. So on 11:30, again, we have banking expense and cash, right? Always be cash, either debit or credit. Debit if cash was added, credit if cash was subtracted. In this case, cash was subtracted, and the amount was 50. One more where we're subtracting cash, so that'll be a debit to cash for that $600 NSF. And of course, we hope to receive it in the future, right? I mean, just because it bounced doesn't mean we're not going to try to still get it. So that's going to be an account receivable. All right. So 113017. So 113017, we're going to have an account receivable, and of course we lost some cash there. Alright, and that's it. That's the 3 journal entries. So whatever entries you do on the book side, they're going to need journal entries. Add cash is going to be a debit to cash, and subtracting cash is going to be credits to cash. Alright, well, good luck with that problem. There's a lot of these to practice out there, so practice a lot of different ones. Alright, I'm going to move on to the next one on the next video.